Steph with Bain, and we are in my kitchen today. Today we're going to be making some Kahlua Brownies. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but this stuff right here, it's like a coffee liquor. So if you don't have this, but you do have a coffee liquor, just use that in place of this. So it's going to be Kahlua Brownies. It's going to be all homemade from scratch. It'll have Kahlua Buttercream frosting on top, and I'm going to try to remember to drizzle chocolate on top of that if I don't forget. So if you want to know how I made these brownies right here with this and how delicious it is, just stay tuned and I'll show you how easy and simple it is and how delicious it is. Also, if you are new here, please press that subscribe button for me. Press it and then tap that bell so you can stay tuned for future notifications of more videos I will be uploading. So just stay tuned and I'll show you. We'll start on that and I'll show you how easy it is. Thank you so much. Guys, we're back, and so I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I made these brownies. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's not hard at all, especially if you're used to baking, and I do pretty much everything as homemade as possible. But I've got to say, for something homemade, it's really fairly easy. I cannot remember where I found this. It was somewhere online. And I just kind of, over time, I've been making these for like, I'm gonna have to say about 4 years or so, maybe a little longer. And I've just kind of adapted it over time a little bit. So I'm sorry I cannot tell you, I don't remember. Anyway, so what you'll need is some all-purpose flour. You will need, if I'm not mistaken, it's, 2.5 cups. This confectioner sugar will be for the buttercream icing on it. You will need 2 eggs at room temp. I always do my eggs, milk, stuff like that at room temp. 2 sticks of unsalted butter, which actually you will need about 4 sticks of salted butter at room temperature. 2 is going to be for the buttercream and 2 is going to be for the brownies. So I'm going to put that on the side. I forgot that. So eggs and butter should be at room temp, okay? So you're going to need that. You're going to need baking powder. And you can add salt. I don't. You'll need some Kahlua. You'll need some semi-sweet morsels, and I add these delightful chocolate morsels with peanut butter filled in it, just a little bit, and then light brown sugar, and your mixing cups, a measuring spoon, and a 10 by 10 pan. And the first thing I always do is preheat my oven. I've got it preheated to 350. The only other things I'm needing that I'm forgetting is my baker's grease and something else. Oh, my attachment. So give me a second. Guys, so I've got my attachment, and I'm gonna also need my baker's grease, and I've explained that in my cake video. I will try to remember to add that to the description link. but I hope I don't forget it. So anyways, so I'm just basically going to use baker's grease, or do it the way you want to. You may have a preferred way you do it. You may want to line it. This is just the easiest way. All your bakers use it. It's more on a professional type scale because of how easy it is for everything just to brush it on, be done, and it comes out just as smooth as can be, pops right on out. So I always use this. I used to do it the other way until I discovered this. And I've been using it ever since because of how easy it is. So you can make a bunch of this at one time and then just, you know, pull it out and brush it on your pan and be done with it. So, anyway. So, I don't know how many of y'all do a lot of homemade baking, but it's really a lot better than that store-bought stuff. I mean, it truly is. It's very healthy. It's a lot more healthy for you. I mean, none of this is healthy. Especially if you got diabetes or something like that. But I'd have to say, if you're gonna eat something sweet, eat it if it's homemade. It's just better that way. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, who grew up in the Great Depression era, taught me, I really looked up to her, and she taught me a whole lot. And she lived until she was almost 100, and she was in her 90s. But she still ate sweets till the day she died. But I'm gonna tell you, she would have lived a lot longer had it not been for a doctor mess up during a surgery. So, plus she was older, you know, which isn't good, but the doctor did mess up, and not too long after that she passed. But she taught me a lot because she did everything from scratch. So I really had a lot of respect for her in that department. Okay, so I've got a sifter here and just a stainless mixing bowl, aluminum. The next thing you're gonna need is to sift. Let me put this up. So I like to clean up as I go, so just excuse me as I do that. Okay, we're gonna need cups of all-purpose flour, guys. I'm going to go ahead and set this on the side. Yeah, I make messes. All right. And we're just going to sift this. You only need to sift it once. Okay. I'm just going to use a whisk, and now we're going to need to get the baking powder, which is a half a teaspoon. I'm gonna try setting this stuff over here so it's not in my way. Okay. Now I'm just gonna kind of mix it all together. I made these for my oldest daughter when she graduated for her graduation party, and everybody munched down on them. Like, it was gone within an hour. Everybody had ate them. So, and I've I've eaten them plenty of times, and I really do love them. They're delicious. They're pretty sweet though, so you may want to cut them in small bores. It's just up to you. All right, let's see. I'm gonna need some scissors. Alright, so what we're going to do, in a microwave safe bowl, as you can tell, I was not prepared for some things. I tried to be, but alright. So we need about 2 cups, and what I'm going to do is put about 1.5 cups. Now you do not have to use these. You can use whatever you want, honestly. And then about 1/2 cup of those. You can use whatever you want, honestly. But I like to mix in a little bit of that one for the peanut butter, I guess. You could put peanut butter, I guess, if you wanted. All right. So I'm gonna save this for the drizzle on top. And now, I'm going to put these 2 sticks of unsalted butter. Make sure you use unsalted. I don't use salt in my recipe because to me, I don't know, I just don't like the salty. I'd rather it be a little more sweet. So if you want to tone that down, I still would not use salted butter. Just add salt to your recipe. So we're just going to chunk these up in a little bit bigger chunks. And I don't know if anyone understands what tempered chocolate is. But basically, you're doing short bursts of heat, short bursts of heat, stirring, and you stirring in between each one to kind of distribute that heat evenly throughout your recipe. Otherwise, you have like a burnt, scorched chocolate, and you do not want that. So you're just basically going to do what's called tempered chocolate, and you're going to do short bursts of heat in the microwave. I'd say start off at about 30-second intervals a couple of times. See how that works. Stir in between each one. And then from there you can knock it down to 20 to 15-second intervals. And just stir in between, and you'll know pretty much when it's done. You want to stir pretty good while towards the end to make sure that heat is, because sometimes just stirring it, distributing that heat evenly will go ahead and do the job for you and finish melting that chocolate. So, all right, so now we've got that, and I will melt this, and I'll come back and I'll show you the result of it, and then we'll go from there. All right, so guys, I did it in 3 bursts with stirs in between. It has a little tiny bit of chunks. I mean, it's not horrible, but I actually like leaving a little bit of that chunk to where, if you don't, just obviously do it a little longer. But I actually like adding a little bit to mine to where it still has it. But I did 30 seconds, and then I stirred, and then I added again with 25 seconds, and then I stirred again, and then 15 seconds, and I'm stirring now. Now I could go back and do probably another 15-second burst, and it would be all melted. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that anyways, because I'm gonna add, I think what I'm gonna do is just add some more chips, not much, but just a little bit. So give me a second again. All right, so I did it another 15 seconds. You might wanna do it 20 since I waited in between each burst. But I don't wanna overdo it either. Excuse me. All right, that's pretty good. There's just barely any chunks left. See, just a little bit. So probably on your last burst, do another 20. It's just up to you. You'll know when you see it completely melted, or if you like me and you want a little bit of chunks. If you're using the peanut butter one, it's gonna have some chunks, and that's kind of the peanut butter you're seeing. It's not really the chocolate, it's the peanut butter chunk and filling inside that you're seeing. It's not gonna melt as well as the chocolate. So, all right, we're gonna set this off the side, and get a towel. All right, so we're gonna need our sugar, which is gonna be 1.5 cups. So let me get this. I'm gonna move this to the side, guys, so we don't have a big mess here. All right. All right, that's good. All right, so we've got that. We need this. And then 2 eggs. So it's 1.5 cups of light brown sugar and 2 eggs, I'm sorry. All right. All right, I think I got mine. Yeah, it's clean. All right. So we're just gonna beat this a little bit until they incorporate together. It should look almost like caramel while you're mixing it. All right. And then we're gonna add 1/2 cup of Kahlua. All right. Let's go ahead and add in the chocolate into this. See, that's all that peanut butter stuff. The filling for some reason don't melt like the rest of the chocolate. Finger looking good. All right. So, all right, let me set that to the side. All right. All right, guys. Now on this, you're gonna be very careful. We're gonna add it all in at one time. But what you wanna do, you do not wanna over stir this, because that is what's gonna make the consistency of how your brownie turns out. In other words, is it gonna be chewy? Is it gonna be fluffy? You know. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna stir this, or mix it just until it's incorporated. Just until it's incorporated. All right. Now the rest of it, I'm just gonna stir by hand just to make sure that it's how I want it and that it's all incorporated correctly and everything like that. And, oof, messy. Oh my gosh, I got it all over my towel, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and add some of these. Not much, just a little. Save a little for the drizzle on top. And then a few of those. This is optional. You do not have to do that. I like it though. Some may say that's an overkill. I don't know. I say it's not an overkill. So I'm just gonna stir these in, kind of fold them in. If you know what fold means, just kind of fold them in, digging all the way to the bottom. And then we're gonna pour it in our pan and we're gonna let it bake for about, at 350, for about 40 to 45 minutes. And then we'll come back and I'll show you what you do next, because it's basically gonna be me poking some holes in it and adding more Kahlua to soak in, kind of like a sugar syrup. And that is it. So we're gonna go ahead and pour this in. Smells so good. Oh my God, I just want to lick the bowl. Yum, yum. I think I'm gonna save the rest for me to lick on. All right, so then what I do is, oh, I got it everywhere. Thank you, me. I take this and I just kind of spread it out. Make sure it's fairly even all around. And that is about it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bake this, like I said, for about 40 to 45 minutes. Okay, 40 to 45 minutes. Okay, guys, what we're gonna do, it's still baking right now, but we're gonna go ahead and start on the Kahlua Buttercream. So it's 2 sticks. Unsalted butter. Now some brands of, if you can tell, one actually is whiter than the other. This one is a cream style, sweet cream, unsalted butter, which is a little bit more yellowy looking. And it actually softens, gets softer at room temperature, where the other one doesn't. If you're doing a buttercream, it's really nice to have kind that is not sweet cream. Just gonna let this cream a little bit and get soft. All right. And now I'm gonna add the confectioner's sugar. This is 1/3 cup because the other ones are still wet from being washed. And guys, I've done this so many times, I pretty much know by eyeing it. Some people like to sift their sugar. I don't really pay that much attention to it, to be honest with you. I just don't. Okay, that's pretty good. I would say anywhere from, if you're doing 2 things of butter, you can do maybe 3 to 4 cups. It just depends. I mean, you kind of get to know the feel after you go to doing it. But we're gonna also, you can add or subtract as you go. I'm gonna add some Kahlua. I don't really measure anything. I guess if I had to say anything, maybe 1/4 cup, maybe. Now I can tell just by looking at it, it needs more liquid. So I'm gonna add a little more, and then we'll go from there. All right, I'm thinking it's gonna need a little bit more sugar. Yeah, just a little. I put a little too much liquid, which is fine. What did I do with it? Put it up already. Should have known better than that. Okay, just add a little bit more. I think this is the perfect consistency right here. Yeah, perfect. All right. So now all we got to do is wait on the brownies to get done. And I'm gonna go ahead and melt the chocolate now. You can just do that without, you can add a little milk with it to kind of help it, but I wouldn't, I mean, or a little bit of butter actually, because it comes out more like a creamier. But anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do just the chocolate because we're just gonna drizzle it. So I'll see you back in a second. All right, guys. It actually took about 5 minutes less, so about 35 minutes, because I just kept checking it. But you do not need to, do it that long. Just kind of make sure, you know, you should know. So anyway, I went ahead and I poked holes, and I'm gonna pour a little Kahlua in here, and I am going to soak my pastry brush, and I'm just gonna go over this. While it's warm, so it can soak in a little better. And you do not need much. Now what I usually do is let it sit in the freezer for about a good 10 to 15 minutes, kind of let it cool down like that. And then I'll come back and do the buttercream and then cut it up. But do it however you want, but this is the way I have found, because if you go to putting the buttercream on now, it just kind of goes to melting. So I've always found just stick it in the freezer for about at least a good 10-15 minutes and let it get, you know, cool down and harden a little bit. And then from there, you put the buttercream on, or you can pipe the buttercream. It's just up to you. But that's it. We're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put it in the freezer. And while that's going on, I'm gonna melt this chocolate to drizzle on top of the buttercream. All right, guys, so now we're back for the last part of the buttercream, and I wanted to focus more on this, but I just melted a few chips in here in little bursts, stirring in between each, insert it into a little piping bag, and we're gonna need to cut it before we drizzle it. So, still got the buttercream. Alright, so I left about 10 minutes. You could leave it a little longer. It's still pretty warm. But for the video purposes, I want it to hurry up and just get it done. Now, like I said, you can pipe this on, or you don't have to. And this is gonna be a pretty thick frosting, and that's fine. That's how I like it personally. But if you want less frosting, just do one butter and about half of the cups I did and all that. Just cut the buttercream in half. But I like it fairly thick. That's just me. But I'm just warning you, I do it really thick. And just spread it out. As you can see, the buttercream underneath is starting to melt because I did not wait long enough. So give it about 15 minutes before y'all do it, guys. 15 to 20 minutes. I just want it to hurry up and get this done because the sun is starting to go down and I've got other things to do. All right. Yummy. All right, so now, if you can see that, I'm gonna cut just a tiny bit at the end because I want a stringy type melt on it.